Warning: this video contains flashing images and occasionally unsettling moments. Viewer discretion is advised before proceeding.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome back to Fuck Me!
Welcome to a video on how to get good at Five Nights at Freddy's, the 2014 point-and-click horror game that took social media by storm and made both the horror genre as well as millions of fans their absolute bitch. Players who can master the hidden mechanics and techniques will be able to challenge the 420 mode and become a living legend. This guide will provide an introduction to the first 2 nights, so if you'd like to see the rest of the nights covered, be sure to show the video some support. Let's get started. Five Nights at Freddy's is a survival horror game where the player is tasked with surviving the night against several animatronic mascots designed to entertain children. If only we knew what getting ourselves into would cause such a ruckus. Each night in the game lasts for roughly 9 minutes, but to you, those 9 minutes will feel like a fucking eternity. And for the entire duration, you'll be put in this crusty ass office that looks like the average setup for a Discord mod. How far you can get into this game depends on your ability to multitask, resource management, and how many pairs of pants you have to spare. But now, let us get to the basic rundown. The office provides you with 3 tools that you'll need to use throughout the night. The office comes with a light button and a door button on each side of the room. These doors will be your primary method of stopping the animatronic motherfuckers from reaching your office and robo-shagging your ass. The third option is your camera monitor, which is the only way you'll get to see other parts of the building since you're rooted to the office at all times. However, you should use these tools sparingly and only when absolutely necessary, as you only have so much power to use throughout the night, and how much you are using is determined by how many bars are on screen. 1 bar usage is active at all times and drains 1% every 10 seconds. 2 bars of usage equates to 1% being drained every 5 seconds. 3 bars is 1% every 3 seconds. And a maximum of 4 bars drains 1% every 2 seconds. The simple act of merely closing a door, if left shut for too long, will make a sizable dent within your power supply, so please ensure that you use your limited power supply efficiently. Now, before we proceed with the first and second nights, let us get used to our enemies that we'll have to be dealing with: Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Freddy will still make an appearance, though his AI behavior will not be mentioned in this video. Now to summarize how the AI works, each character has a set movement interval where they will attempt to move. The move intervals are different for every character, so they will desynchronize after the first hour. Bonnie has a move interval of once every 4.97 seconds. Chica's move interval is once every 4.98 seconds. And Foxy's move interval is once every 5.01 seconds. Now understandably, these sound specific as fuck, and indeed they are, but that is not the whole story. For you see, when their movement interval is triggered, it is effectively decided by random chance, based on whether or not they can move. Essentially, when the move interval is triggered, the game will roll a random number between 1 and 20, and then compare said number to the animatronic's current AI level. If the generated number is higher than the animatronic's current AI level, then they will not move. If the generated number, however, is lower than the animatronic's current AI level, then they will move. Bonnie and Chica use their move intervals in a simple fashion. Chica will move to adjacent rooms, favoring the right side of the building as marked here. Bonnie favors the left side of the building and can sometimes skip rooms when his move interval is triggered. So for example, when starting on show stage, instead of always going to the dining area, he may instead go directly to the backstage. This can sometimes lead him into catching the player off guard due to his enhanced movement. Foxy uses his move intervals a little differently and may be a bit difficult to understand at first, as instead of directly moving to different rooms, he advances 1 stage closer to escaping from Pirate Cove, with each stage being shown on screen right now. If Foxy manages to escape from the cove, you have roughly 25 seconds to close the left door, but if one were to make the fatal mistake of checking camera 2A, then they will see him sprinting at full speed, and you will have 1.5 seconds to respond and shut that fucking door. Once Foxy reaches the door, he will bang on it, taking some power and heading back to Pirate's Cove. Each time he bangs on the door, he takes more and more power, so you should keep an eye on him as much as possible. It is also strongly advised that if you see this when checking the Pirate Cove, that you first go to close the door, and then check camera 2A for him to sprint. Freddy only comes into play during the first 2 nights, if you ever run out of power, so we will skim through this functionality quickly. Once power runs out, all other threats are immediately deactivated regardless of what they were doing. This includes if Foxy was on his way. Freddy can take up to a maximum of 20 seconds to reach the office, and once he has, he will begin to play his song, which can also last up to a maximum of 20 seconds. It is once the song is over, the player will be shrouded in darkness. This is where you hope and pray you have good luck, since the jump scare only has a 20% chance to trigger every 2 seconds, with no maximum time limit. So if you happen to run out near 6 AM, you best hope and pray that the game doesn't decide to shaft you. Now, armed with this knowledge and skills, let us begin the first night. Night 1 is relatively simple, as all the AI levels are set to 0, so you'll have plenty of time to get used to the layout and the controls. Use this time wisely, as once 2 AM hits, the additional AI aggression system, as I call it, will activate, increasing Bonnie's AI level by 1 point, which allows him to start moving. This repeats again at 3 AM and 4 AM. Except Chica and Foxy also get their AI increased by 1 point as well, so by the end, Bonnie will be fairly active, with Chica and Foxy being closely behind. Freddy does not gain any AI points throughout the night, so you don't need to worry about him just yet. One of the most optimum strategies for the first night would be to simply close the left door once it hits 2 AM. This works best on night 1 due to how inactive the animatronics are, and even in the worst case scenario with Foxy becoming active because of how late he activates, he won't be much of a threat. Should either Bonnie or Chica reach the doors, you should close them as soon as possible, since if they get another successful move interval whilst the door is open, they will jam the buttons.
For the love of God, please! Are you serious?
If it is the right that gets disabled this early in the game, you'll be fine for the most part, just as long as you don't pull up the monitor. If however it is the left door that gets disabled, then you're in absolute deep shit and on a one-way ticket to destination absolutely fucked. In this scenario, if you pull up the monitor, you will die to Bonnie. If you don't pull up the monitor, you will eventually die to Foxy. There is no winning here, unless you're close to 6 AM. Keep your senses with you and your skills sharp, and night 1 will be easy as a piece of piss. Night 2 is where shit begins to get real, especially since the 3 aforementioned animatronics are immediately able to move the moment the night starts, due to their AI no longer starting at 0, except for Freddy. The optimum strategy used for night 1, of simply closing the left door, whilst still possible, will not work as well here, due to Foxy being active immediately, and much more reliant on luck and hoping he doesn't come to visit often. Additionally, the power does drain mildly faster when not doing anything, at 1% every 9 seconds, as opposed to 1% every 10 seconds. So around this time, that you should start conserving camera usage to looking exclusively at certain animatronics, as to save on power. This will mainly apply to Foxy for pretty much this night onwards, but Freddy also has some effects later on. Bonnie and Chica do not get affected when you watch them, but do make noises when moving around. Here's a sample of the sounds to listen out for. These can be a viable indicator as to when either Bonnie or Chica have moved, allowing you to conserve power by not wasting it searching for them, since the only time that you'll get to see them is right outside your office using the lights, in which you can just shut the door on them. As long as you keep on track and focus on the task at hand, night 2 should be a breeze, and you'll be just fine. Thanks to this guide, you should now be able to surpass the first 2 nights with relative ease and learn exactly why no one can figure out how the AI works because it's essentially all RNG based. A special thanks to Tech Rules and Boxfix from the FNAF subreddit in providing the technical information used for tonight. Thanks for watching this Halloween special, and don't forget to subscribe for more shit like this. Have fun.